hitting live.
Nice.
Starting right on time. 6 o'clock. It's coming down to the
On the
wire.
dot, dude.
I know I was trying to like set up the overlay so I had like table slam and switching your YouTube and Twitch around and stressing. All right. Yeah, and I didn't really have like a title today, but I saw like an hour ago that they posted the arena season end date. So I was like, to me, that's an indication that phase two is going to be soon. So I just threw that in there for the title. But yeah, this is the Grif and Go show featuring Table Slam because Grif is still having internet issues, and it's also holiday season, kind of hard to get together during that, especially for me. Like I'm out of town right now, but somehow I managed to get away from everybody and get this going. So yeah, Table, nice to have you back, man.
Always a pleasure. I'll hang out anytime, and it won't be 4 billion hours this time.
Yeah. Oh, I think I already messed it up. Let me see. Let me get that up there. The cameras always freeze, no matter what I do. I switch something and then they stop freezing and then they freeze again. And man, let me see. A little stream delay. Okay, I think we're
I'll
moving.
stay very still just in case.
First time catching you live. Oh yay! What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, this one almost didn't happen. So glad you got to catch it. But yeah, usually we start off the show with like stuff that we've done recently. Griff and I, and like videos and polls. I have been slacking on videos. Griff's internet hasn't allowed him to even really play the game at all for the last like 3 weeks almost. I think it's been. But I think the next video I would be doing would be something on like gearing, and there's probably going to be more than one. One with like emblem gear, like what emblem gear I'm going to be going for first, and like the crafted gear. There's belts and boots that are coming out, but yeah, I need to get a poll together at least for the next show. But Table, what video were you talking about? You were going to be working on?
I'm going to be working on one about trinket toggling, which is mainly for like melee focused stuff, but like it applies to anybody who uses proc trinkets really. And it's like it's the same. Like I've been talking about it in past streams and things like that, and I think I talked about it with Bobby as well. Not on his pod, but like just while we were chilling about like lining up. Like basically, if you could choose when your proc trinkets could proc, when would you have them proc, and then you just unequip and re-equip your trinkets to make the internal cooldown line up with when you want them to proc. So that's basically the whole video that I'm gonna do in a nutshell.
Yeah, that for balanced druid, I kind of want everything procking right at the start of the fight. So if we're chain pulling, then I'd have to try to figure out, like what pack do I need to toggle them off so that I can have those procs like right at the start of the fight. But it was interesting because I was hearing you talk to Bob about that too for like Rogue, I guess it was, and how he doesn't pop his cooldowns until like 10 seconds into the fight. So having something like that to toggle would help out classes like that.
Yeah, and like I mean, you can toggling is not just for lining up cooldowns; it's also for like just generally putting your. It's not so much to get them to proc at a specific time; it's to keep them from procking
Mm-hmm.
when you don't want them to. So like you
Yeah.
can use it to force them to proc, 10 seconds into the fight or whatever, or you can also do it to make sure that they're not going to proc before the fight or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you were talking about in your case where you don't want them to proc or whatever,
I've been there
or you.
sometimes. Like the last pull before the boss, I just don't even do damage because I'm like I don't want my trinkets to proc or my light weave embroidery cloak to proc.
Yeah, so basically in that situation, if you just toggle instead, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about it.
Yeah. Where am I at here? My screens, man. I need a third monitor. I keep saying that the last couple of weeks. I just need to break down and get a third monitor.
A third, man, I gotta get a
Yeah.
second.
Oh, dude, when you have two, it changes your life. It's amazing.
That's what I'm kind of figuring on. Like I use like my phone as a second screen just for like watching chat and whatever, but like there's a bunch of other stuff that I would like to have up on a second screen that I just can't.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, the title of the show is Phase 2 soon, so we might as well just skip down to like the classic news. So about an hour ago, Wildhead posted that season, I think it's 5 for PvP, is coming to a close January 9th or 10th. It was like, I saw a date for both, but basically it's like 2 weeks away, and then typically what happens is they'll release the next phase a week after the arena season ends, putting us at Ulduar potentially coming out January 17th on that Tuesday.
Which is that's kind of around the time when a lot of people were thinking, like mid to late January.
Yeah.
Some people were saying like as late as February, but most of the people that I've talked to anyway have kind of thought that it was going to be mid January, mid to late January. So that's kind of in line with what a lot of people have been thinking anyway.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean, it's honestly the sooner the better. The sooner the better, while still giving us enough time to like be prepared for it mentally. Because like, I mean, phase 1 is kind of dragging on at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it was kind of scary because I'm like, I think we only have 2 more raids until Ulduar comes out. I'm still looking for a couple more pieces of loot. I got some loot this week, which I guess we can roll right into what we've been doing in WoW this past week. So I'll get a little raid story out there to start us off, and I got Dying Curse finally, huge caster trinket.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah,
that's huge. You've been after that for forever, but now we can't meme on you anymore for having it on your alt and not your main.
I know. I was tempted to switch mains, like my alt be my main be my alt, because I've just been getting loot. I've been buying loot on the alt, and it was almost getting to that time. Like Ulduar was coming up, I was like, I had to make that decision, and now I'm back to like, I might keep the main. But yeah, we had 2 Dying Curses drop yesterday, and then 2 Grim Tolls as well. So all the trinkets were dropping. But we also
Grim Toll's nice because at least it can drop off of multiple bosses. But Dying Curse is kind of, I mean, it's only the one boss, right?
Yeah. Nest, what's up, man? Yeah, Nest, Table, I don't know if you saw. Yeah, you did see it. The video that Nest edited for me was that one, the leveling, the AoE grinding. Yeah, Nest did all the work behind the scenes.
Yeah, we were chatting about it a little bit. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, awesome.
Looks super clean. I liked how clean it looked.
I know. I just wish more people watched it. I feel bad.
I think that's one of those ones that's going to stay relevant for the whole expansion. Yeah. So like, even if it doesn't blow up right now, like people will find that throughout the course of the expansion and find it useful the whole time. So it's not like our like phase 2 prep videos are going to only be relevant, until phase 2 comes out, and then it's like into the nether with them. But yours, that one will be relevant the whole time.
Yeah. Another
playing
one
a long game.
Nest, stop, man, stop. Thank you, but stop. I know, like anytime Joyous Journeys comes out, people are gonna be looking back at it. Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna do like a refer a friend type thing for Classic WoW. But
that'd be interesting if they did, because like they used to do it way back in the. Remember the old Zevra mount? That was like from way back in the day of doing recruit a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, like Dying Curse drops off the same as Grim Toll, so yeah, we got like 1 trinket from each.
Oh, it does. Okay,
it was sick, dude. But I couldn't believe it.
Shows how much I know about caster trinkets.
I was memeing on our Warlock because she was like, yeah, so the next Dying Curse that drops is mine, right? And it's like, nope. I was like, I don't know who it goes to, actually. Like, knowing full well I was getting the next one. Like, but yeah, dude. Like,
play it off.
It took us so long to get the first ones to drop. The Nest! Stop. Dude, I'm going to turn that off. I don't even know how to turn it off. Just ban you from the chat. You're too kind, my man. Thank you.
Can you imagine? Stop. Can you imagine that being like your thing? Like your reason that you have to give? Too nice, dude.
Yeah, too nice. You're making me blush. You probably can't see it, but I'm blushing right now. But yeah, I got another piece of loot that I wasn't really like looking for, but it kind of I think helps because Dying Curse has a lot of hit, which Grim told us too for melee, right? And the boots have hit, so it's like I'm getting all of this hit, but I have to like shift all my loot around, so it kind of works out with getting those two pieces. I still want the leggings of the Wonton Spellcaster, which I got on my alt. So now my alt has like Pennant Cloak, Wonton legs. It's got 4-piece tier. What's another piece? I don't know, but like the alt has like all the loot that my main doesn't have. It's sick.
Are you already at the point where you don't have to gem for hit at all? Like, are you getting all the hit you need just from passively on gear?
Yeah, that's one thing I get to drop because on the main, getting Dying Curse, I had a 16 hit gem in my belt, and now I can take that gem out, put spell power in there.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Not having a gem for stuff definitely feels nice.
But yeah, like I don't even know how much I spent. I spent like 8K on the legs, and then I spent another. It was only like 1,500 for a tier token, I think. So I ended up in the hole again in GDKP. It's just I'm trying to do those to get gold, and I just keep spending gold. So it's rough. It's nice because I'm getting all this loot, but I'm gonna have to drop one of my professions to get engineering at this point because the gear is just too good to not have engineering and try to like pump. Oh, dude, Ness got the torch. Yeah, but we saw our first torch last week, so we might only go into phase 2 with one torch. It's pretty wild.
Dude, that's rough, man. Like, obviously, grats to Ness, but like, dude, that's definitely rough to like a piece that powerful. That's like good for so many because that's a caster and a healer piece too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To only see one for the whole phase, that's like just super unfortunate.
And I think we saw our third ring, which is the same situation, healer and caster. So we got our third one, I think, to drop last night. But the most interesting thing about the rating from the past week was we did 20 man for Nax, EOE, and Obsidian Sanctum. So we got the achievement for under 21 raiders, and that was pretty neat. We had a little issue on a couple bosses, and then Thaddeus had like an extra achievement for doing it with only 20. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, right. So you got doubled up on that one then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those achievements are always cool because it's like I generally the achievements that make you kind of play like whatever fight it is that make you like think about the fight a little differently or strategize slightly differently. Those are always the interesting ones because it's not like there's ones that's basically like, have good RNG or, nobody can lag essentially. Like the one on Thaddeus, the shocking one. That
Mm-hmm.
one's basically like hopefully nobody lags during the fight. Like that one's hard to get because of that. It's not because of anything skill related. It's totally just luck and connection issues.
Yeah.
Whereas ones where it's just kill the boss with 20, it's like okay, you guys are purposely doing this. This is something that you actually have to be good at, an alternate way of doing the fight. Those ones I think are interesting.
Yeah, it went a lot slower, only having 20 people for Thaddeus. The less
Oh, I
polarity,
can imagine.
like buff stacks, dude, it was a long fight.
I feel like that's probably the fight that gets impacted the most heavily by having fewer people. Because it's not just that you have fewer people doing damage, but also, yeah, like you said, the stacks of the buff don't go as high. So the people that are there are doing even less damage because they don't have as many stacks.
And then we didn't like adjust the spore groups too much, but I think we could have had, like 4 spore groups instead of 5. And then spore 5 would have been back to, group 1 or whatever. But yeah, we didn't go that hard into it. But we did struggle a bit on patch. I don't know what was going on with patch, but yeah, that we had like we did military wing first, had like a clean military wing, and then went to patchwork, and then the mood kind of dampened. Had
Do you have a couple wipes or something?
yeah, I think we might have had like 2 on there. Maybe it was only 1, but yeah, it's like maybe 2 wipes.
That's not awful. Because I mean, like you think about that fight, that's one of those ones where it's like the strat that people do, especially if you're doing like the solo hateful tank strat. It's basically like you're solo hateful tanking so that you can have an extra DPS to kill the boss before the healers run out of mana. But then if you have to go back down if you have to go back to 3 tanks to play it safe, then you're doing even less damage, and the healers, it's a give and take. It's always an adjustment for that one. So I could definitely see how that one would be causing a little bit of issues. But I mean, hey, you got it. So
Yeah. And it didn't take too long for the night either. I think we did it everything in like 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. So most of the bosses were only like 20 seconds longer. So like Noth, we got Noth to 4% and he teleported, and that felt
Oh,
bad,
that's
dude. It was like, come
that's such a
on.
downer.
And then
What a troll.
we had to actually dance for Huygen. Like, it's like, dude.
Imagine, dude.
And we did what, Sarth 2 Drake, and that wasn't bad. I think I got hit by the flame wall for the first time in like 2 months,
It's
and
rough, right?
I went for my nitro boost, and I guess I had already used them. So I'm just sat there like crawling. It felt like, to get out of the way of the flame, and I think that's what killed me. It was weird because the flame was coming from my back, and I got knocked like further away from like the from where the flame was coming from. So I don't know. I didn't go back and look to see. Maybe I got tail swiped or something. I don't even know if the tail swipe knocks you back from like the little mini boss, but it was an interesting raid. It was kind of cool to get all those under 21 raider achievements though. But yeah,
I feel like that's.
how'd your raid
Oh,
go?
sorry.
Oh, you good?
Um, we did things just normal. We just did a farm night. I think we tried Zerging 3 Drake, which was like kind of impromptu. Like we weren't gonna do that at first, but like somebody mentioned the fact that like, hey, like we probably have the DPS, we could probably go for it. And the officers were like, sure, why not? Let's go for it. And at first I was like, dude, no, that's not something you just spring on the raid. Like, hey, by the way, we're gonna try this for the first time ever. I was like, nah, what are you doing? But like we got real close. We ended up, how many wipes was it? I think it was only like maybe 7 or 8 wipes. And we were getting them like sub 5%. Um, but it was it was a couple of new people. We had a new Death Knight tank who was having slight issues with, because he was going to be the one that like ran out, basically like the sacrifice to run out with the first Drake. Um, so that the tank wouldn't get clapped or whatever. So he was kind of like the sacrifice person, and there was like weird issues with the Drake starting to come back early, like before he died.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was kind of causing some issues, and just generally that wasn't why we couldn't do it. We barely didn't have enough DPS to kill the boss before the second Drake landed, or before he went immune. Whenever that ends up being.
Yeah.
So we were super super close. We just didn't quite. Basically, it was like, to Zerg it like that, when the margin is that tight. Like if you just barely almost have the DPS that you need, you are pretty much relying on RNG, like where the wave spawns are. Like if the wave spawns in the position where the melee don't have to move, then you have a much better chance of getting the fight down. But if the melee has to move, then it's like just that little bit of movement can, they can get tail lash, they lose some uptime, and that can be the difference between zerging it and not getting the kill. So we tried it a bunch of times, didn't work out. We switched it back. We went back and did it normal. But I think probably if we go for Zerg again, we could probably get it this time, because now A, we have some experience with it, and B, more people are aware of this type of stuff that they need to be doing in order to make sure we can get it. That's really like the only new thing that we did. That's the only real exciting thing, was that we tried Zerging and it just didn't really work out. And I'm trying to think of what else we did. I think we might have seen another torch this week, maybe, but I can't remember if that was another torch or not. I think it was. I think we got a torch and no, it wasn't a last laugh. We got a torch and something, something else that was good. Wasn't an envoy, wasn't a journey's end, but it was a torch. Oh, we got a calamity's grasp. That's what it was. It was torch and a calamity's grasp.
Yeah. I know, like I haven't been paying attention to loot the last like 2 weeks. It's always just been like I've been rushed to get on and rushed to get off. So like they usually roll off like the off spec gear, and I haven't been rolling on any of the feral gear to try to fill out my set, and I felt bad, but I need to get with you later on and update you with my gear and see what else I need to get, what I should be looking out for, because there's just so much loot at the end of the raids now. It takes 45 minutes to roll off the off spec loot. It's nuts. stuff.
Yeah, so at least knowing which pieces you need to be on the lookout for, at least you know whether or not there's
Hmm.
something in the pipeline that you need to pay attention for.
Yeah, yeah. Because like even the tier, I don't even know which tier pieces I have and which tier pieces I should be looking for. So yeah, I'm gonna need some help.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like on to the next part of what we've been doing in the last week, which we are both, I think, extremely hooked on, is playing hardcore. So
Oh yes.
you're doing two characters right now. What
Yeah.
characters do you have going on?
So I have there's so for anybody who's not aware of what hardcore is, I'm sure people have to be aware of it by now because you've been streaming it and stuff like that too. But it's basically the one life challenge. Like you try to get to 60 without dying. And there's like a few other rules, like you're not allowed to trade with other players. You can't group for quests in the open world. The only groups you can do is for dungeons with other hardcore players. Can't use the auction house. Can't mail stuff to yourself on alts or to other people. So no mailbox, no auction house, no trades.
No bank
Uh,
tune.
yep, no bank tune. And if you die, you either have to delete the character or leave it as a ghost. So it's like a legitimate challenge to, and this is in classic era, so like the vanilla version of the game with vanilla talents and everything like that. So it's like a legitimate challenge. Like it's it's harder than you might think, um, and it's been a lot of fun. It's just a nice extra thing to do. It's a different thing to do to occupy the time while we're raid logged or whatever. And there is a subset of hardcore called noobcore, which is you go into each dungeon 6 levels below the level of like the final boss, um, as a 10-man instead of a 5-man. Because in dungeons and vanilla, you could enter every dungeon as a 10-man. You just, obviously, if you're in a raid group, you can't do quests for
Oh,
the dungeon or whatever.
I didn't know that. That's
Um,
neat.
yeah, so that's why that's what Radagast is for. I have two druids. I have my main druid who's level 21 right now, and then Radagast, who I stopped at 20 because the noob core group did Wailing Caverns and Dead Mines already. And next up is SFK. So the level cap for SFK is level 20 because Argal is level 26. So our level
Oh,
cap for SFK is 20. So I stopped Radagast at 20, and then I have Table Slam, my other druid, who's level 21. So it's been a lot of fun.
dude, the 6 levels below is a lot of chance to miss. That's gonna be
Oh yeah,
wild. And
that's why it's a 10-man too, because it's like essentially
yeah,
like when you're running 6 levels below, you have to treat it like it's a raid because like the incoming damage on the tanks and stuff like that with the crushing blows and all that other stuff is similar to what it would be like if you were actually raiding.
so do you know like the comp? Like not really like the comp, but like do you have two heals and two tanks and then 8 DPS?
Yeah, pretty much. There's like a main tank and kind of like an off tank slash DPS, and then there's a couple of healers, depending on what's going on. Like sometimes it's one main healer and then either an off heal or another full time healer. And my dude Radagast, I made him as a druid. For anybody that doesn't know, Radagast is a character from Lord of the Rings. Like the whole guild that I'm running with is a Lord of the Rings RP guild. So we all made characters based on actual characters in Lord of the Rings, and I chose Radagast because he's awesome. And Radagast is a wizard, but the way that he's depicted in the books makes him seem a lot more druidy. So I made him as a druid to be a balanced druid. Shout out to all the boomies out there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be balance slash heals to reflect how Radagast really was in the books and whatever. But he's going to be like DPS and off heals. So I don't know what the actual comp is going to look like when we go into SFK. I don't know when we're doing it. I don't know what people's availability will be. But either way, I'll be prepared to either just DPS or just heal or a little bit of both. Either way, it'll be fun.
And you'll probably be streaming that, I assume, right? On Twitch?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I think probably a few of us are going to stream it because I think one of the melee likes to stream that stuff. One of the tanks likes to stream it, and one of the healers likes to stream. So I'll be doing kind of like the DPS slash off heals version of that, like a slightly different POV.
And for the dungeons, so like normally you can only run the dungeons one time and that's it. Is that the same thing for you guys? Like even though it's 10 man, you can only run everything once?
Yeah. So like the whole goal of our specific thing. So the regular noob core is the same thing where you just do every dungeon once, but you go in with 10, 6 levels below the last level or the end boss's level. But for the Lord of the Rings one, our specific thing is we're progressing through all the dungeons only one time. But the whole point of it is our person who is like depicting Frodo fished up the One Ring, like the item the in-game item that's the reference to the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. He fished up in Stormwind, and we're going to progress through all the dungeons until we get to Blackrock Depths, and then we're going to cast it into the fire as though Blackrock Mountain were Mount Doom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of I'm pretty sure that's where our progression for that will stop, because that's the whole like goal of that one is to destroy the ring. But obviously there are other dungeons past Blackrock Depths, so I don't know what the plan is after that. But normally with Noob Core, yeah, it's the same deal where you can only do every dungeon once. You can only have one dungeon ID or whatever per dungeon.
And like, how does that work with the normal like hardcore players? Because like farming pre-raid gear for like the Road to Rag seems like it'd be really rough if you could only do Dire Maul North once and Ubers once. Are there?
Well, once you get to 60, those like restrictions lift. Like once you get to
Okay.
60, you can farm stuff,
I
but while
gotcha.
you're leveling dungeons, you can only do once.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was really confused on that. I was like, wait, like are people really only doing like Sholo Strath one time and trying to raid with whatever they got? Like that would be rough.
Yeah, it would be. But I mean, that's kind of like I feel like either way you do it, like the way that we're doing it with the Lord of the Rings one, where our rules are slightly different, where like we are allowing trades between members of the guild, like fellowship members can trade with each other and stuff. Where normally that's not allowed. Like even if you're doing dungeon groups in regular hardcore, you still can't trade. Even if you're in the dungeon group together, you still can't trade. So we're doing things slightly differently for the Lord of the Rings one. But regular noob core, the same stuff would still apply.
Yeah, I'm kind of on my own on my hardcore druid as well. So like I didn't get the add-on because I've been playing on two computers, like my desktop and my laptop while I'm at work. So I could use like the cloud and Google Drive and all this stuff and make sure that my account was verified, but I didn't feel like going through all that trouble. It was my first tune. I didn't even know that I would make it to. I'm 23 now, so I didn't even know if I would make it past level 10. So now that I'm like 23, it's like, man, it'd be cool to be able to run these dungeons and stuff, but I know nobody's even allowed to like run dungeons with me. And I wouldn't want to run dungeons with anybody else and like compromise their accounts and everything. So I'm just kind of chilling on my own on my druid. But I'm doing a couple like extra things on my tune. So I'm a leatherworker skinner, and I'm progressing through my leatherworking one craft at a time, like one trainable craft at a time. So in order to train the next craft, I have to have crafted the previous item at least once. So I'm at. I'd have to log in. I think I'm almost logged. Yeah, let me log in real quick. Hopefully this doesn't freeze the frame again.
Oh,
Um,
are you still stuck on that one leg pattern?
I got the leg pattern yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah,
Finally.
but I'm at a different pattern now. uh, but and like it's too much work. I can't even type my password in. But yeah, like the I got cut off at like I think it's level 35 that the first dropped pattern is, and it's just like a random level 11 to 18 or something like mob drop slash treasure chest. It's starts with a B. I can't even remember what the chest called.
Batter chest.
Battered chest, yeah. So you can find it from a battered chest or just from a random mob. And I finally got it from a chest yesterday. I hopped on for like 15 minutes and I got it from like my fourth chest that I looted. And I was like, finally, because I've been level 20 plus searching for this thing for almost like a week, it feels like at this point. And then I crafted that item. It was like the rugged leather pants, and then I trained down to like some Kodo bag. It's like a 6 slot bag. So I trained down to that, and I had to do a quest for that, which was only turn in X amount of leather and some thread. So I had that already. turn that in, but then I had to craft that bag. So I had to go kill Kodo, get the Kodo leather, craft a bag, and then go back to the trainer. And yeah, so now I'm at like I think it's a chest piece, but it's another drop, like the same thing as the legs. It can drop from the mobs, or I can get it from the chest. So I'm back to chest farming until I get this next pattern to craft, and then I can keep going through my leather working. But yeah,
Well, at least you know where all the chest spawns are.
I know I'm getting it down, and it kind of stinks because all the mobs are level, like 13, 14, so I'm not getting XP or anything. But at least it's easy, and I'm not like worried about dying while I'm doing this. It's just kind of like a little time sink. But I don't have to stream everything to keep my account verified or anything like that. So I just hop on when I'm chilling, look for the pattern a little bit, and then hop off.
So like if you end up getting that tune to 60, even if it's not verified, there's a couple other people who have who started characters either before the add-on existed, so they can no longer get verified because they started the character before the add-on, but they still haven't died. So it's like you could still continue to do it the same way that other people have been doing it, and then if once it is 60, you could just turn it into like an anti-griefer tune.
Yeah. So I might do that, or like what I'm really thinking is once I hit 60, if I actually make it there and I don't die, that I would make a tune on like a Wrath server. And I think it's probably the same named server. So on NA, the hardcore realm is Blood Cell Buccaneers. So that's where my level 23 is right now. And then I looked at like the Wrath servers to look for like an RP server, and the only one I could see was an East Coast server called Blood Cell Buccaneers. So if I hit 60, I'll just make a level 1 Wrath tune, and I'll get the add-on as long as it's supported on Wrath. And
Yeah, it's supported on Wrath. I think Maladath is the Horde server for NA.
okay, and then I'll only play on my desktop. I won't play on that while I'm at work to make sure it's verified and everything.
Or like you can do the whole, either Dropbox the file or thumb drive or whatever, save the add-on data and, copy it in or whatever. But that's a bunch of extra steps.
Yeah. But yeah, like I know both of us were watching Mincy farm that
Oh yeah,
savory
dude, that's
deviant
that's
delight
a whole other
pattern.
level. He did it for RP reasons too, just so he could be either a ninja or a pirate when
Mm-hmm.
he's doing stuff. Like that's his thing though, is he wants to have the deviate recipe on all the tunes he does. So, like obviously props to him for sticking it out. But he
Yeah.
was doing a thing where like he couldn't, similar to what you're doing with the leatherworking, like you can't progress leatherworking until you get the previous thing. That's how he was treating his rogue too, where like once he started the deviate grind, he's like, I cannot continue with this character until I get the recipe, or it's basically either get the recipe and continue or delete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
So
props to him for the dedication.
I feel like I'm in his situation. I have a little bit of like flexibility. I can leave the Barrens, and like there's some batter chests in the Barrens. I can go farm my patterns from there, but I need at least one more. Like I think it was 3 total patterns that I needed to drop for leatherworking, and I've gotten the gloves. The gloves is like level 75, and I think the chest that I need is level 60 for leatherworking. And I've got the glove pattern 3 times now. So
Ooh,
like,
rough.
yeah, I once I get there, I'm good to go. But yeah, it's been it felt so good to get the leg pattern and craft it, and then be able to craft another couple pieces to finally upgrade my gear, because I was in like level 3 and level 5 gear with no stats, no int, no stam. So I finally got a little extra stamina. I'm feeling a little bit more tanky and stuff. So it's
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like Stam is king for hardcore for sure.
mm,
Like the ways that we like min max on like multi life characters, totally different from how you min max for hardcore, which is like it's interesting. It's just an interesting, just a different way to look at the game and to think about things and to play the game by doing hardcore. It's just been That's why I've been hooked. I don't know about you, but like that's been the biggest reason why I've been enjoying it so much, is because it's still the same game. It's just it forces you, the whole game changes as soon as you commit yourself to never dying. The things that you do to make sure that that happens are like it changes the way that you think about everything.
Yeah, like I never kept potions and stuff like that, but I'm making sure that I have health pots, I have mana pots, I've got bandages. I've been leveling up every profession and secondary profession. I have to level all of that at the same time as well. So like the leatherworking's holding me back from going from 75 to 150. I think it's what journeyman's the start one. I don't know how it goes like name wise, but yeah, I can't progress past 75 on anything until I've got 75 on everything. So my fishing 75, uh, first aid 75, my cooking 70, but I can get 5 points in cooking fairly quick. Skinning has been 75 forever, and then yeah, the leatherworking it's holding me back, but it's gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel rewarded once I get all these patterns and I get up to 75, and then I can like take off and get up to the 150. But yeah, like I think that's helped me not die is kind of slowing the game down. Like I'm not rushing to get to 60. It's not like a race for me or anything. I'm like being super chill in this tune, but also taking it kind of seriously.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the things that like a piece of advice that I got from like we both called into Bob's podcast a couple weeks ago, and the question that I asked was like, should I take this tune actually seriously, or should I try and do ridiculous stuff for hype or whatever? And Winky was on. He's one of the kind of like the pillars of the hardcore scene, and his piece of advice was to always take every character as seriously as possible because that makes it entertaining. Like that's part of what makes it entertaining is if you lose a character that you were super into, um and you were super invested in, then that is entertaining. Like that's and to see the anguish on somebody's face when they lose a character that they really care about, it's like that how do you pronounce that, schadenfreude, where you like you're gaining enjoyment from their suffering essentially. So like that's gonna be much more enjoyable for people to watch, but also like you have more enjoyment out of the game when you're taking the character seriously and you invest in it and you care what happens to the character. You have more fun playing too, and that's what I've found. Like, so your thing where you're doing this thing with leatherworking, and I've been doing a similar thing with leatherworking, not quite the same thing. Like I've been leveling it to like keep up to date with stuff because that's one of the best ways to gear yourself is to craft your own gear and stuff. So like doing that and keeping up to date with professions and making sure that I'm doing everything that I can to give myself the best chance of survival has gotten me to care about the character a lot more. And it's increasing my chances of survival because I want the character to survive. So I'm doing everything I can.
Yeah, if you give yourself a challenge to farm like a dropped pattern and then that pattern has dropped for you, you really don't want that character to die at that point. Like as soon as I got that pattern, I'm like, yeah, dude, like this character can't die. But I've been taking a couple of risks. I haven't been just playing completely safe, like killing green level mobs or anything like that. The the latest risk that I did was I went to Stone Talon finally, since I'm horde, and I did the spider quest, and it was like, collect some eggs or something like that. And I went out there to do that, and then I picked up another quest to kill like an elite spider. And I've tried to fight some elites before, and their health pool just seemed insane. But I cleared out this little spider area, and I had like, just me and the big elite spider. And I think we were the same level. I think we were both like 22. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like send out a wrath and then root and then just wait for my mana to regen and then just keep it going and like see if I can kill this thing before it kills me. And like as soon as I started, I saw like a level like 28 rogue like in stealth like come up, and they were just watching me, and they like I could tell like they were just like seeing like, is this druid gonna be able to kill this spider? And I was like, it was one of those things where usually I'd be like, yo, like, help me out. Like, come on, let's just get this done. I'm trying to level, trying to get this quest done. But I respected the fact that they respected me trying to solo this quest because it was a challenge. And it was really cool to like sit there and use my bandages, use my potions, and use my whole toolkit in my undergear little druid to get this elite down on myself and kite it around and keep it chain rooted. It was pretty fun to do.
Yeah, stuff like that always like doing something that you're basically not supposed to be able to do always feels super nice.
Yeah, and another thing with my druid is I'm not learning cat form or bear form or aqua form, whatever. Like I haven't decided if I want to use travel form yet. Still, I don't know. It'd be nice to have something to at least shift me out of like a route if I get webbed by a spider or something later on, or something throws a net on me. But I don't know.
There is an achievement in the add-on that for to not shift ever, to
Mm,
literally never shift, even like so like not even aquatic form or travel form or moonkin form, like literally no shifting ever. There is an achievement for that in the add-on, but like if you don't have the add-on, then like it's really just whatever you feel like doing,
yeah,
obviously.
and I've got to be shifting into Moonkin form once I hit the level for it.
Right. So like once you get to that point, then you'll have a way to get out of roots, but
Yeah, yeah,
until
true.
then.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
there is an achievement to not do a mount as well. So obviously, if you wanted to do that one, if you're already gonna be doing Moonkin form, then you might as well get travel form and just not get a mount and then do that one.
I could do that. Yeah, because that's how I played entire classic vanilla. I didn't have a mount until pre-patch of TBC.
Yeah, you don't need one. You are the mount.
Exactly.
I feel like so there's the achievements that are in the add-on are cool, but like you have to select them at level 1. Like before you actually start playing, you have to click the achievements in there and then it tracks it on your there's like a it adds like a pane where it normally would be the honor pane on your character tab, instead it's the hardcore pane. Um and it shows like your currently active achievements or whatever. And I didn't do that on Table Slam. So basically, technically, I don't have any achievements active. So like before, I was saying like, oh, I'm going to do Night Elf Zones only. I'm going to do no shoes or whatever. And I decided to walk that back. I was like, you know what? I'm going to worry about getting to 60 first, and then after I get to 60, then I'll start, going into the achievement stuff. Like all the extra wacky stuff I'm doing on Radagast, that's plenty. That's fine. And I have that rogue that I'm doing in caves only. I'm grinding to 60 in only caves. His name is Only Caves. And I feel like between Radagast and that character, that's enough of the extra stuff. Like I'll just worry about getting Table Slam to 60.
I saw you had started streaming the Only Caves tune. At what level did you end up getting that to?
I got him to 8, and then I
Okay.
decided to go to the Troll Cave in Dunmorrow. And they have mobs in there that cast Fairy Fire, so I couldn't stealth anymore. And I got Fairy Fired, and immediately I was like, oh, this cave is bad. I don't like this cave because of that. And I kept going anyway and died at level 8 because
Oh,
I couldn't stealth.
yeah.
So that was rough. So I started another one. He's level 4 now, but that's one of those characters where like I basically can only play him while I'm streaming, because like doing like a little extra challenge that's as specific as caves only is one of those things where like if anybody can claim that you cheated on that challenge by doing anything outside of a cave. So I have to stream the whole thing just so nobody can say anything.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I'm gonna be switching over to the Alliance, the next tune that I make for hardcore, because I really wanted to do the undead starting zone, so that's what I did on my current hardcore tune. I died the first time I tried to run from Mulgore over to the Undercity. So I remade the tune, so it's technically my second hardcore tune. And I like ran through the Barrens, ran up into Orgrimmar, took the Zeppelin over to Brill, and then ran to the Undead starting zone and started from there. And being a druid and having so many druids that I've had in Classic, like Mulgore has gotten very stale. The Night Elf starting zone has gotten very stale. So now that I've done every starting zone for like the Horde side, I haven't done the like Elven Forest in so long. It's been, I don't know how many years since I've gone through all those quests and done Fargo Deep Mine and all that, like Kill Princess and Hogger. I haven't done Hogger, so like the next tune that I do, whether I die on my current druid or I wait until I hit 60 and then make another one on the Wrath server, I'm getting a night elf, and I have to figure out how to get over to Elven Forest and then start at level 1 or level 2 if I've got XP and boosted to level 2. But I want to get over there and do that whole starting zone.
There's a couple like skips you can do. Like I
Mhm.
got to Westfall, but like you just swim around. You take the boat to the wetlands, and then you swim across um to the coast basically, and you just follow the coast down to Westfall. And that can get a little hairy because there's a bunch of murlocs on that coast in Westfall. So like you either have to be very careful about where you decide to go, or you have to wait until somebody like clears them out and then go.
Yeah, it might
But
might
it's
take me a
possible.
while.
It's just difficult because like you can't do like one of the other things for hardcore is like you can't do like you know how like the old I don't even know what you call it, like the stuck trick or whatever, where like you select that you're stuck and it teleports you to the main city. Like you're not allowed to do that in hardcore. So like you have to physically run there if you want to get there.
Yeah, might that might be the longest time it takes me to like even start a character. Like I might go through 5 druids trying to get from the night elf zone to Stormwind.
I mean, you could do some of the quests. Like you get to like 6 or whatever before you leave
Ooh,
Shadow Glen.
but wait, is there a boat now in Wrath though? Because it'll be on the Wrath server. Is there a boat from Darnassus to Stormwind, or like
Oh, I don't know.
Ashenvale to Stormwind somewhere over there? I might be able to just make it pretty easy now if I did that.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I
I'd
know
have to
that
look that up.
obviously Stormwind does have a harbor now. I'm not sure where. I know there's one boat that goes to Borean for sure, but I don't know whether I don't know if there's other ones. That's a good question. I feel like I should know that being an alliance player, but I can I can't even remember the last time I actually took a boat in Wrath.
Yeah. Yeah, for that, I might do a duo. I had talked to Mincy about doing a duo tune with him. I know he's starting up one with somebody else, one of his friends Ash. But I was talking to him about because he's on my raid team on Tuesday and Thursday. So we were thinking like if we did do a duo, we would just like log on a couple hours before raid and then play for 2-3 hours and then just go right into our normal raid. Have you tried duo? Or are you interested in duo at all? Or
I feel like I am interested in it, but um I haven't really talked to anybody. I haven't talked to anyone about doing one yet. I was like kind of jokingly talking about trying to convince Mincy to do a duo, but like I never like outright asked him to do one, and I don't even know if he knew that I was making those like kind of memes about it.
yeah,
Because like this is still when he was in the middle of his deviant grind, so I don't think he wasn't thinking about about duos at that point. He was focused on getting deviant.
yeah,
Um, but like I think there's a couple other people that I have become friends with through hardcore. Mostly like the people that are in this Lord of the Rings guild that I'm in. Um, there's some pretty cool people that have been around the hardcore scene for like a long time, and there's a few of them that have been doing duos with other people and stuff like that. So there are people that have experience with duos and stuff. So I feel like if I decide to do a duo at any point, it'll probably end up being with um, one of those people that I've already kind of done a little bit of play with. Not really a ton though, because I haven't really done any group stuff with them yet. But I mean, the fact that we're in this Lord of the Rings group together already kind of implies that like we are, we're all down to like play with each other. So I feel like that would probably be the first group of people that I would try and ask for a duo partner with.
yeah.
One thing that I have not considered though is a trio. Because like that just like a duo is enough extra logistics going on. A trio sounds like low key like a nightmare.
Yeah. So are there like what are the rules with that? Like you have to have the same exact XP because you've killed all the same mobs, done all the same quests?
It doesn't have to be like the exact same XP. Um, you just can't. you can't play without them, if that makes sense. Like the most like what do you call it, ethical, I guess, way, or the easiest way to do it would be to start in the same starting zone. But if you want, like, say, if they really wanted to play as a troll or whatever, and you really wanted to play as a Tauren, one of you would have to run to the other starting zone, or you'd have to meet halfway and then travel together before doing any quests. And like, so all of the quests that you do have to be like at the same time.
Yeah, and then I guess there's some profession quests that could give one extra XP that the other wouldn't get.
Right, or like class quests and stuff like that.
Mm,
Like the druid class quest will end up giving a druid slightly more experience than like say a hunter would or whatever.
yeah. Okay.
So like little stuff like that. And it's basically like you have to stay together the whole time no matter what. Like you have to always stay together. The only exception is like for class quests. Like if you want to do your druid class quests, um they can just wait for you. Like but they can't do anything while they're waiting for you to get back.
Hmm.
Basically, you have to go do the thing and they have to sit there and wait, and then you finish up and then go back and resume where you were at, or meet halfway or whatever.
Yeah, I would need an experienced duo partner to like carry me through all of that stuff because I'd just be going off on my own. It's like, all right, you're doing your druid quest. I'm gonna go kill these murlocs and farm some XP so that we're not far off from each other when you're done. And then
Yeah, but you can't do that.
yeah, that'd invalidate my
Yeah.
my tune, and I'd be screwed. So yeah, I
But
need
like
somebody experienced.
the thing that's nice about duos is you're allowed to trade between duo partners. So like you can kind of min max your professions. So like if one of you wants to go like alchemy herb, the other person can go like skinning, leatherworking, or whatever. Just any combination of things you could totally do. I feel like herb alch is probably the strongest profession in all of hardcore. So that one is like a no brainer. Like if you're doing a duo, then one member of the duo should be herb alch, and then the other one can kind of be whatever you want, really. But like engineering mining is another strong choice because of target dummies, really. Like it's just an extra escape, an extra way to escape.
Yeah, it's funny how it's Herb Alk is the best when the rating was engineering. So like engineering no more. Herb Alk, yes.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like they're definitely the top two. Like alchemy and engineering are definitely the top two, for sure. But it's like for different reasons. Like for engineering, it's just all of the extra like tools and gadgets you have available that can help you survive. But also, alchemy can help you survive by giving you stat boosts because in vanilla you can stack a whole bunch of consumables. You can stack pretty much one of everything with alchemy, and you can't do that with engineering. So like in a situation where you would need a bomb or a target dummy or whatever from engineering to like dig you out of a precarious situation, you may not have even gotten into that situation if you had all of the extra stats from having alchemy stuff up.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a give and take. And of course, having easy access to potions is huge.
Hmm. Yeah, having all the health pots that you ever want, having unlimited like mana potions, especially as a balanced druid, so there's less downtime if you're trying to level a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I've found because I'm herb elk on Radagast, and the I've used like a good amount of health potions, but the potion that I've used more than that I kind of am surprised by is rejuvenation potions, the ones that give back health and mana. Like I've been using a lot of those. Like I have my bag is like I have like probably 5 or 6 stacks of lesser healing potions, and I just have those. They've just been chilling. The ones that I've actually been using are the rejuvenation ones.
Hmm. Yeah, I've always had to make the choice as a non-alchemist. Do I want to have like the mana potion or the health potion? So yeah, having the one that does both would be pretty cool. Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely fun stuff. Like hardcore in general has just been a ton of fun just because like we were saying before, like just thinking about the game differently than you otherwise would, and the fact that it's like a throwback to vanilla. Like there's just something kind of magical about vanilla in general. But like having to look at the game differently, strategize differently, which quests you do matters. When you do the quests matters, like your pathing for which zones you go to for quests, like all that stuff matters way more when you're trying to not die.
Yeah, so that reminds me of a couple of quests I've been trying to do and I've done, but like I've gotten I don't know if it's people griefing me or not. So you let me know what you think. There's a quest in the Barrens you might not be familiar with, but there's like a keep and there's three like towers and there's a mob at each tower. So you have to kill like
Oh yeah,
10
Northwatch.
North, is that what it is? Okay.
Or
So
is that the one in Duratar? I know
mm,
which one you're talking about though, where all the Theramore Marines are.
yeah, so like you have to get like 10 of their commendations or something like that, and then you have to kill like three named mobs on the top of three towers. So I was trying to go do that solo, and I would clear like at the bottom of the tower. There's like six total mobs or something like that. There's like two outside, and then there's like four inside the bottom of the tower. So I killed like the first two outside, and I'm killing the four in the middle, and then like a hardcore duo comes up and just like runs in there and goes up and kills the mob at the top. And I'm like, dude, like I already started like pre-clearing this tower. Like, fuck off. Like, leave me alone. Like I've started this. Like this is mine. Leave me to it. Like I thought there was some code that the hardcore players would follow, but maybe it was only like a couple people because like I went to another tower for the same quest. I was like, okay, you guys got this one. That's fine. Whatever. I'm gonna go do another one, and I'll come back. So I went to another one, and there was like the same thing, like a stealth rogue or something like that. Like walked right on by me as I'm like clearing the mobs at the bottom, and went up and killed the mob. I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you see me here trying to do this quest, and you guys come up and just grief me. I was a little upset.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna happen. That's happened to me a few times too. Like I'll clear out all of the stuff that would be like basically getting my like area, my fight area ready to go, so I wouldn't have any respawns while fighting the thing, like the
Hmm.
reason for being there. And then as soon as I finish clearing, I'm like getting mana back before I start the pull, and somebody comes in and tags the thing.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Dude, I was mad. I was like, what are these guys doing? And then there was something else too that happened, and I was like, what is going on? I don't know. It might come back to me. But yeah, dude, like that threw me all off. I was like, this is unbelievable. I was like, I
Were,
wanted.
were you at least getting XP from the mobs?
Oh yeah, yeah, I was getting XP, but a little, because quests like that where it's like keep, I treat it kind of like a cave. Like I want to make sure that I've got a couple scrolls for like stamina, spirit, and stuff, so that I've got a little extra buffs, a couple extra skittles, as I've heard it's called, having a bunch of buffs on at the same time. It's like I want to make sure I have all these things to make sure that I don't die if something respawns from like a hyper spawn. If somebody's killing in a different zone, but it's forcing mobs to spawn.
That's really why caves are dangerous. It's not like because like if you're in a cave by yourself, it's fine because the mobs are going to respawn at like the normal time that they should be. But as soon as somebody else comes in and it kind of triggers like the hyper spawns, that's really when it's like actually dangerous. The hyper, it's not the cave itself; it's the hyper spawns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there was something else that made me upset, kind of like that. I just can't think of it. But overall, oh, what it was a quest in the Barrens again, in the top right portion. There's this quest where you have to get some drops from the mobs, and you need to get like 5 pages, and then you need to get like a cover page, and then make a manual from the 6 items.
The semiflange thing.
Mm-hmm. So I was up there for yeah, I was streaming for this part, and it was an hour and a half. I got the 5 pages. I could not get the cover page. I was up there killing mobs for an hour and a half. Couldn't get it. Couldn't finish the quest, and I still have those 5 pieces. So now at this point, I'm like, it's in me to just go back up there and get that cover page. Like I don't care how long it takes. If it takes me another 3 4 hours, I'm gonna go back up there. I think and get that cover page.
You'll still get experience from the quest, probably.
I think so, yeah. But dude, like the drop rate from vanilla is just insane.
It's funny because like in Wrath quests where you have to like get a specific drop or whatever, and it has like a low drop rate, like those quests are annoying in Wrath for sure. But like in vanilla, like you end up like there have been times where like I get to a certain point in a zone and I'm like, okay, once I turn these quests in, I'll get my next round of quests, but I won't be like I'll feel like I want to have like an extra level before I like start doing those quests. So it's like I grind out the rest of the level anyway before I do the next set of things. So like those quests that have really bad drop rates in vanilla, those are I don't see those as a bad thing because like there's so much inherent grinding in vanilla anyway that like the times where you are forced to grind because of bad drop rates are a lot of times the times where you would want to grind anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like built in.
I've been like that too. It's like, yeah, like I don't mind spending an extra level in a zone or an extra 2 levels in a zone before moving on. Like I didn't start going into Stone Town until 22, I think. And all the starter quests there were all green. They were super easy. They were level. Some of the mobs were gray. They were like level 14. I wasn't getting any XP from them, but the quest still was green. So I was like, okay, like I'll do this quest. There's some battered chest. I can try to get my leatherworking pattern while I'm doing this. But the another thing that hurt with that quest up in the Barrens was there was a shaman that was up there, came there after me, and I knew they were on the same quest, and they left before me, and I was like, damn, like lucky little shaman came up there, got all their items, and they're gone.
Some people have all the luck. Some people just prayed more to RNGesus, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, like so part of my druid is it's the self-made, I guess is what it's called. So like I can only wear loot that I've crafted myself, and I've been thinking of expanding upon that for items that leatherworking can't craft. So like neck, rings, trinkets, and weapon. And something I came up with, which I need a little feedback for to see if it makes sense, is I can learn a bunch of different like weapon skills. So like daggers, two-handed maces, one-handed maces, staffs. I there's like one or two more. So I was like, I think since I'm a balanced druid, trying to keep everything balanced as like with my professions too. It's like if I level up all of my weapon skills to X point, then I can equip like this piece. So it's like my next I need to get my two-handed maces up to 75 weapon skill. Then I can equip a neck or something like that. And then I can't replace it until I've gotten up to like 125 weapon skill or something like that. What do you think about that?
That'd be interesting. It's like an interesting little twist on it. It's kind of like I think it's a cool idea. I think the what might help with like knowing what those cutoffs are would be to look at it the way that it's done for like rogue pickpocketing or not pickpocketing, lock picking,
Okay.
where like the maximum skill that a rogue's lock picking can be is based on their level. So like, maybe like you can't equip, an item in, whatever slot until your weapon skills are this or whatever. And that would be like tied to your level instead of it being like totally arbitrary. Be like, okay, well, if you do something like that, like I don't have any specific ideas for numbers or anything like that, but like tying it to your level in that way might make it easier to figure out when it would make sense to. Because like obviously there are certain slots that don't even get filled for a while anyway. Like I don't even like I still don't have a neck piece on I'm level 21, still don't have a neck, still don't have a helm, still don't have rings or trinkets. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's a certain you get far enough into the game without getting anything in those slots anyway. So I guess it kind of in some ways would make sense to limit yourself based on level, but if you tie it to your character level, that might make it the weapon skill thing. Maybe that would help you decide what the appropriate numbers would be.
Yeah, that's my latest thing that I've been thinking of since I've actually been getting a little bit higher level. I'm like, okay, I've got to start thinking about these things. Like, do I just want to not have these slots filled? That would feel kind of bad. So I'm like, how can I justify, like, what can I do to grief myself in order to be able to equip these items? Like, I'm finally just now breaking my first staff. So like you spawn, you get like a chest piece, legs, and a weapon, I think, for every tune. So, of course, I've replaced the chest piece and the legs. But my original staff, my bent staff, I think is like durability 4 out of 25 now. And I'm level 23. So it's taken this long for me to get my staff to finally like break. And it'll probably still be like 24, 25 till it breaks. And the only thing I've thought
I'm
of,
surprised it took that long, to be honest.
yeah, I know the thing is durable as hell. But the only thing I've thought of to like do when that staff breaks is just replace it with whatever the best weapon is that I've gotten, like the best staff that I've received from like a BOE or a quest. After the first staff breaks, then I can replace it. That's what I've told myself. But now, like, I'm trying to weave in, weapon weaving, trying to weave in these other weapons to level up their skills to justify all these other slots. So I don't know what I want to do. I'm kind of
Like
stuck.
like I said, it's a cool idea. I feel like because like either way, like no matter what, like the whole point is like you're focusing on character progression, like all the different ways that you can progress your character and stuff like that, which is cool, and it's like a cool idea. But like the more complicated you make it, the harder it's gonna be to follow. And like, is it something? If it's complicated enough, is it something that you would even bother with? Is the real question. Like, if you make it too complicated, would it be like, I'm just not gonna even like whatever. Like, if you make it too complicated, you're like, all right, when can I equip a? If you have to do math every single time, you have to figure out when you can finally are allowed to wear a neck. It's like, well, at that point, you might as well just not wear a neck because you don't have to do math.
Yeah, I've got to make a spreadsheet now at this point. And I'm
Oh
terrible at
God.
spreadsheets, so it would be probably harder to follow the spreadsheet than not make it. Yeah, just equip stuff, but I don't know. It's been fun.
It's a cool idea though. I think like that's the whole point. Obviously, we're talking about character progression, all that stuff. But the other point of hardcore is challenging yourself. So like, as long as you're doing that, it's whatever, like the whole point is that it's a challenge for yourself to see if you can do it. Like, there's people stream their progress and everything, which is cool and all, but like at the end of the day, like there are more people that don't stream their hardcore progress than people that do. So at the end of the day, it's for yourself. Like, whatever level of progression you would find the most satisfying for yourself is the correct answer for what you should do specifically. And that's for anyone. That's not just me talking to you. That's me talking to anybody who's thinking about doing hardcore. Is like, do it for yourself. Do it because you want the challenge.
So, if we could talk a little bit, because you were just recently on the Warcraft Reloaded podcast with Bob and Mel. Shout out Bob and Mel and their podcast. But you were on there when the news came out that it was data mined for like the rag achievement and like the Iron Man achievement or something like that. What did you
Yeah,
guys
from
talk
Season of
about?
Mastery.
Yeah, like what did you guys talk about with that? Because I haven't been able to watch that podcast. I'm gonna watch it. I'm sure Bob's probably uploaded it to YouTube at this point. But like, what did you guys think
I think
about?
you might still be editing because I haven't seen it up yet. But like,
Okay,
we were trying to figure out if it was that they were adding in those achievements to Wrath, or like for people to do in Wrath, or if those are just carryover achievements for people that transfer their characters from Psalm to Wrath.
yeah, and
That's what we were trying to figure out. And we don't really know which it is.
I thought I might have caught the part where Bob was saying that he thinks that um they were going to be bringing it to Wrath. Is that right?
I think, yeah, that's more or less what Bob thought. But like, I'm not so sure because like it's really easy to jump to conclusions, obviously. and like do all the whole wishful thinking stuff. Like it'd be awesome if that's what they were doing. If they were bringing challenge modes to the live game, that would be cool. Because up to this point, the only challenge mode that has been officially like sanctioned by Blizzard has been the Iron Man challenge in SOM, and like killing Rag with Soul of Iron in SOM. So bringing challenge modes to the live game would be huge for the challenge mode community and the hardcore community. That would be huge. But I don't know. I'm not sure because they don't really like to talk about their plans that much. So like I just am kind of like I'm approaching it with like cautious optimism, where like it would be really cool if that's what they were doing, but we'll see.
Yeah, because I'm kind of nervous to start a tune at this point on Wrath. So it's like I hope my current hardcore tune on Classic Era survives until Phase 2, because if Phase 2 launches and this whole Iron Man buff is applied into the Wrath server, then that'd be perfect. Like I can start a fresh tune on Wrath, have this Iron Man thing. I guess I could still get the add-on if I want to, but I'm not big on add-ons. So at least if I had that buff, that could be my proof. Like, hey guys, I might not have the
Yeah.
add-on, but I've got my Soul of Iron buff, so please play
Well, the
with
thing
me.
that's nice about Soul of Iron and about Wrath is like if you go into Wrath and you open up like your achievements pane or whatever, there's a stats page also that shows how many times you've died.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
you can, and the way that the Soul of Iron works is that you cannot get the Soul of Iron buff if you have died previously. So if your Wrath character hasn't died yet, you can still get the Soul of Iron buff. So
Yeah.
even if you already made the character before they like added it in,
Oh yeah.
once it's added in, you can just go to the NPC that gives you the buff, and as long as your character has not died, you're going to be able to get it.
But you might not be able to verify with the hardcore community that you haven't like used the auction house and traded and used heirlooms up to that point. So
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
if you want to be safe about it, then yeah, yeah. Hmm. I don't know. The more I talk about like playing hardcore, the more I just want to go ahead and start a tune on Wrath. Like,
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like it's just fun. It's just
yeah.
fun to see to push yourself and see how far you can go and stuff.
Hmm. But I just get so attached so quick to tunes. Like, I know a lot of people, they're like, yeah, like hardcore detaches me from having to fixate on one tune all the time. But I don't know, like if I make a tune, I'm fully invested.
I feel like there's a couple ways to look at it too, right? Like there's the whole thing of like of being super zen about it, like, oh well, if he dies, he dies. Like the old the quote from Rocky, oh, if he dies, he dies. Um, so it is healthy to have that mindset of like, well, it's no big deal because I'll just go again. That's one way to look at it, but also it's not a bad thing to be attached to the characters you make because it makes you want to keep them alive. Like that is a good thing to get super attached to your character. You should be trying to do that anyway because that's what's going to make you do everything you can to make the character survive. So,
Like,
but then when it does die, the more you care about it, the more you take the lessons to heart that you need to learn to keep it from happening again. Like if you lose a character that you didn't really care about and you didn't really do that much to keep him alive because you didn't care about it, like what did you actually learn?
mm-hmm. There was somebody had died and they were like level 50 something, 52, 53. They did a quest and everyone, I think I was watching Mincy when this character died because they were in like the hardcore guild, and they did a quest where you have to like kill yourself or something, like you use an item and it kills you, and they're
Yep,
like,
in
dude,
Daenerys.
yeah, they're like, the add-on tells you like not to do this quest, like it warns you every step of the way, and they're like, how did this guy die to this? So like that part makes me want to get the add-on and everything to make sure that maybe it'll help me, because I'm going in this blind right now. I could be picking up a quest at any point that could kill me or put me in a bad situation, and I would just be done at that point. So like that would feel really bad. But like I've been trying to do as many preventative things as I can to make sure I don't die. Like I've been watching all these things, hearing all these people talk about like how they've died and all this stuff, and I need to start watching that F's in Chat podcast because they probably. I mean, I know they watch like death clips of how people are dying, so I need to watch like what mistakes people are making so that I don't get up to that point and make the same mistake.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the biggest, and that's one of those lessons that you can learn from hardcore that can help you with playing multi-life characters in the live game too. Is like there's such an emphasis and a focus on learning from the mistakes of others in hardcore, where like there are entire like metas that have been fully developed around like which quests are deadly quests at particular levels, or like which leveling route is like the safest route to take, and like all these other things that like people have learned from other people who have like messed it up. And like that's one of the biggest like ways to improve your own play in the live game is by being able to look at the mistakes of others, analyze them, and apply it to your own gameplay. And like that's like a nice little side effect that I've learned from hardcore that I wasn't expecting to have learned something like that from playing hardcore. But I mean that's a nice positive that can be drawn from it for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's an add-on. It might be called like Rested XP or something like that. And I think it has an option on it where you can toggle it for hardcore play. Is that right? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
There's a few different ones. There's the normal like efficiency route. There's like a speed run route. And then there's a hardcore route. And the hardcore route will like purposely steer you around quests that will be deadly at your level or whatever. It'll make you avoid stuff that you shouldn't be doing basically if you want to survive, like that sort of thing.
All right, I'm trying to set you up really big here. Have you been using this add-on on any of your hardcore tunes?
I have not been using
Oh
that
no.
add-on.
I was going to be like use discount code TableSlam for your Rested XP if you're
I do
trying
have
to
a
use
code.
hardcore. Okay.
I do
Plug
have a
away, plug
code
away.
that is my code. Is code table slam for 5% off. But I haven't been using it mainly because I want to get to 60 like old school first.
Okay.
And then I'll start doing things like, okay, like I've done it once now. Let me see how fast I can do it now. And that's when I'll start doing things like trying to optimize my routes and stuff like that. And that's what's nice about add-ons like Rested XP or like Zygor or like really any of the add-ons that show you like the most efficient way to do things. Like those are nice because somebody else already did all the work to find the most efficient route. So all you have to do is follow the steps that they laid out for you. But my first time around, I wanted to be kind of like immerse myself back into the game because it's like if you're throwing it all the way back to vanilla, like even having like I don't even like to use Questy when I'm like on these runs right now because I want to be forced to like read the quest text to find out where I'm supposed to go and like reconnect with the world again and stuff like that. And then like once I'm on like my second or third tune back in hardcore where like I'm leveling through the same zone again, I was like, all right, I already know. Like by that point, like you might not even necessarily feel like you need the add-on at that point because like you already remember where everything was because you read the quest text the first time around and you had to like figure it out and you remember stuff a lot easier. So like there are people like the people that do crazy speed runs like for leveling all the time, like a lot of them don't like they have the add-on but they don't need it. Like the add-on is just there for like a reference, like to remind them or whatever, with like it's stuff that they already have memorized because they've done it so many times.
Yeah, like Questy is one of the only add-ons that I do like lean on a lot, and it took me a while to get to that point. I think I went through all of classic vanilla without using it, but then TBC came around, and I think I got it at that point, and now I'm like, I need my Questy. Like, I love opening up my map and seeing like where the quests are and like what mobs I need to go to, and it's not buggy, but like some quests like don't really show too well. So like I'm still having to do a little bit of work. Like sometimes I do have to like go back and read the quest and figure out like where am I going. because maybe like the icon didn't show up and I like something happened and I needed to like reload or something to get it to pop back up. So like I'm kind of like in the middle. Like some quests I do know and I know right where to go, but like I do like having Questy as like a little backup.
Yeah, I feel like so. I use Questy on in Wrath. I just decided to not get it um for vanilla or for hardcore for era stuff. But like one of the big reasons why I like it for Wrath is because of like it tells you where the quests are, like where to pick up quests.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the big things that I like about it for Wrath is because like there's certain times where like there is a quest near you that you just don't know is there, and you see the little exclamation point on your mini map, and it tells you that the quest is there, and you're like, oh, I didn't know there was a quest here. Cool.
Yeah, like the spider quest I was talking about in Stone Talon, I never would have known to click on this random like post sign to pick up a quest if I didn't have Questy. Like there's just
Right.
no way I would have seen that. It doesn't sparkle in vanilla like it does in Wrath. Like quest items and stuff like that have a little sparkle to them. Yeah, I would have just ran right by this post and never picked that quest up.
Or even like mobs that drop an item that starts a quest that like you would know
Mm-hmm.
about, or like on Teldrassil, for example, there's like Black Moss the Fetid who spawns every like 2 hours or whatever, rare elite, or just rare mob, not rare elite, just a rare mob who drops an item that starts a quest. Um, the only way that you would know that that mob exists is if you had found him previously and killed him for the quest, or if you had Questy,
Mm-hmm.
or any of the other add-ons that show you quests in the area or whatever. And then there's an escort quest where you gotta escort this cat. It's like this night saber. You have to escort it back to like the Moonwell that's near that area. And like that's another one where like if you didn't have an add-on that told you there's a quest up there, you might not, because it's kind of off in a corner, you might not know that there was even a quest up there if you didn't have an add-on for it, unless you just stumbled upon it.
Yeah. And even with having Questy, I was really hoping that I would be able to, go to the undead starting area, go through like the 1 to 5 zone, go to Brill, do that whole area, and then go to Silverpine Forest, clear out all of Silverpine, and then go down to like Hillsbred Foothills or whatever. And I cleared out Silverpine Forest using Questy, killed everything but like the elite quests. But even still, like I just wasn't at the level to get down to where I needed to go. So I'm like I don't even know how I was supposed to go. Like, was I supposed to get to some certain point and then it was gonna take me to the Barrens or something? Because that's like the only other zone for Horde to start to level at that zone. So like having Questy for me, I was like, it helped and it still got me like further probably than I would have gotten without it. And I'm glad that I had it. So like I that's one add-on I just can't not have at this point. Because I didn't want to go to Barrens. I've really tried to steer clear of Barrens because I've been there so many times, done so many quests out there, and I was like, I don't even want to go there anymore. I want to just pretend like I'm an undead and go through all the undead stuff. But
It's fun to mix it up for sure. I feel like the Barrens is just such a good questing zone because there's so many. It spans so many levels, and there are so many quests in there that like there's a reason why so many people level in the Barrens is because it's just super efficient. But yeah, to your point, you do it enough times, and it's like, all right, dude, like I need something different.
yeah, I'm looking up the world maps. I'm opening them up with Questy, and it's just like there's no exclamation points anywhere other than like the Barrens. I'm like, I don't want to go there. And
Do I have to?
I know, I was really put off of even going to Stone Talon. I don't know why, because I haven't really fully done Stone Talon. But now that I've gotten, like, I've dipped my toes in the water and I've been there, I've done a couple quests. Now I'm like, okay, I want to do all of Stone Talon now. Like, I think I'm past the Barrens, and I think I can just clear Stone Talon. And then if I clear all of that, then I'll figure out where to go from there. Deathless? I don't know. I don't know if I want to go there.
I don't know, man. I the zones that I like to go to are the ones that I think have cool stories. Like I don't even when I'm like leveling in Wrath, like leveling in Wrath is so fast anyway that it's like it doesn't really matter what zone you go to because it's like whatever you pick, it's going to be fast anyway because it's Wrath. But like So that's why like it's like if I'm gonna have to level in a zone, I might as well enjoy the zone. Like if it has a cool story or cool ambiance or whatever, like that's where I like to go. So I actually like Dustless because of all the Centaur stuff that's going on and like how the fit like it used to be like what the zone used to be, basically. Like seeing what it is now versus what it used to be is like kind of crazy. Like it used to be like this verdant lush thing, and now it's like a wasteland. Like that type of stuff is interesting. And there's that corner of the zone that has like those giant bones.
Yeah.
That's like crazy. Like it's just a cool zone. Like there's all the demons and stuff. Like it's a cool zone. I think it's cool story wise. Like visually, not really nothing special, nothing to write home about visually. But the story behind the zone is what I like, and that's kind of how I and like me with the lore stuff. Like that's kind of how I decide where to level is okay, which zone has a cool story, which zone is like significant in a lore way, and that's kind of how I like to go about it.
All right,
And I
so,
haven't had any issues with getting bored by stuff yet.
so both of your tunes, the Table Slam might be 21 at this point, but Radagast is
Yeah,
20. So like,
yeah,
and they're both
keeping them at
alliance.
20. Yeah,
So like, where do you plan on going to? Like Red Ridge, or what's the other one? It's like right there. Dusk.
Lockmadon.
Oh, Lockwood. Are you
There's
going to
Lockmadon. There's Red Ridge. There's Duskwood.
Duskwood? Yeah, yeah. Where do you
There's a
plan
bunch of
on
zones kind
leveling?
of all packed together. Um, I have Table Slam is in Lockmadon right now. Just kind of because there's like it's weird. Like there is like a little bit of like level overlap between some of the zones where it's like you finish one zone, then you go to like what zone you would have gone to if you were like a different race or whatever. And like the first couple of quests are like gray, and then there's a few green quests, and then by the time you get to like the ones that are level appropriate, you usually have gained enough experience from the lower level quest where like those the level appropriate ones are easy now.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of what I've been doing is like I've been getting a little bit ahead and then going a tiny bit back, and I'm kind of hoping that works out for me. That's kind of generally been my plan, is to finish almost all the way through a zone and then go to one of the slightly lower zones and then get that one finished up.
I thought
That's kind of
about
been
doing
my
that.
strategy.
Yeah. What? So wait, is one of your tunes is Radagast still like no beast killing and stuff like that? So no
Yeah,
STV probably for
yeah, no
Radagast.
STV, and like and pretty much any there's some quests in STV that'll be able to do, just like not the Nezzing Warrior ones.
Yeah. I mean, a lot
Um,
of them are like the gorillas and stuff like that too.
right, and it's like it's weird because like there's the way that some mobs are classified in vanilla is super weird. Like there are some things that are obviously beasts, but they're classified as humanoid instead for whatever reason. Like some of the gorilla mobs are classified as humanoid, but they're still tameable, and you can't tame humanoids, so it's like it's super weird. So it's like the way that I am deciding to go about it with Radagast is like, is this obviously an animal or a beast or whatever? If yes, then no killing. Like regardless of how the game classifies it, like if it's like wildlife, basically, then I'm not gonna kill it.
Yeah, so I can skin Worgen. Like Ness is talking about. Do you kill Worgen at all, or is that should that be what how you classify? Is it skinnable? Therefore, it's beast.
The way so Worgen, I see Worgen as humanoid. Like with like it's basically Worgen are people that are afflicted by the whatever curse it is, the curse of Argal.
Mm.
Like so I see Worgen as humanoids. Like Worgen are fine to kill. Because like there's no wild Worgen. They're all people that turned into Worgen.
A loon didn't create Worgen. Okay.
Right.
All right. Cool. So there was no specific date on when you were going to be running SFK. Just soon TM.
It's probably not. It probably won't be until after the new year. I don't know if there's like a set date for it yet, but everybody that I've talked to is saying that they think it's going to be not till after the new year. But whenever we decide to do it, I'm going to stream it for sure because that'll be fun. It'll be my first time like participating with the group because they already did Dead Mines and Wailing Caverns as a group. and SFK will be the third one they do, and which will be the first one that I'm able to participate in. So hopefully I can get it because I think we have more than 10 people. So some of it is going to be like who's available and also like what's our comp looking like who should we bring? Who does it make sense for us to bring? So like there's even though I have a character ready to go, there's no guarantee that I'll even, make it into the group. It'd be cool if I was, but like I mean, if if there's other people who have been with the team for longer that want to be in, then like I would defer to them because they've been in the team for longer.
Yeah, cool. Well, I know you would stream that on Twitch, so I linked your Twitch in the chat there, twitch.tv/table
Nice.
underscore slam. But yeah, we've been going for an hour and a half. I've got to get back to some family stuff, so gotta start closing it out here.
Word. Yeah,
Uh,
man. When you stream your hardcore stuff on YouTube mostly, right? Or
I
have you been doing some Twitch stuff too?
I've been doing both kind of. I was gonna
Yeah,
do the
I've been seeing you
same.
do both.
I was gonna do the same as you and do only Twitch, but it's kind of hard because I've been doing a little bit of hardcore like before my raids and stuff, so I didn't want to like stream on Twitch and then end that, reset up OBS for YouTube, and then stream YouTube for the raid. So yeah, I've been dabbling in both. So it's like if I'm doing something farming and stuff like that, usually it might be on like Twitch, and then if I'm just hanging out like grinding, like if I'm streaming, I feel like I need to be leveling. So like the whole leather working stuff, I kind of do like off stream and stuff like that, or maybe on Twitch. So I'm just chilling, listening to all the music that I want to listen to on Twitch. And if I'm on YouTube, then I'm usually like grinding out some levels, doing quest. So I might be doing like a an elite quest, like that spider quest on YouTube and stuff, like right before a raid. But what
Makes sense.
what day is it? It's Wednesday, so Thursday. I might be streaming on and off like some hardcore stuff between now and like next Tuesday, but next Tuesday is really like the main thing. I'll be streaming like the usual 25-man raid next Tuesday with the guild, and it'll be after the holidays and everything like that. So I should be getting back into like full stream of doing hardcore stuff and doing raiding and stuff and trying to get those videos out for like phase 2. I've got to work on my loot list since that's the type of guild that I'm in. I have to figure out what I want to prio, so I'll put that out there, like everything that I'm prioing and stuff, and in what order. It's kind of is different than a lot of guilds like Loot Council, Soft Reserve, all that stuff. But at least it'll be some information on gearing out there that I'll put out there. But I think that's everything for me that I'm going to be doing. What else were you going to be planning on doing?
I'm streaming raid tomorrow. We didn't raid on Tuesday because of holiday stuff, so we're raiding tomorrow instead. So I'll be streaming that on YouTube. Other than that, I'll be streaming hardcore stuff on Twitch, and then I was thinking about starting to make like actual like YouTube content for hardcore stuff too, because there's not a ton out there. So I was thinking about doing some of that stuff, even if it's not, because I feel like I haven't been doing long enough yet to do any like informational type of stuff. So it'll be more like entertainment stuff, like, hey, here's how my journey has been so far, or like, hey, here's a funny thing that happened, or whatever. Like, just kind of basically just like stream clips, almost like trying to
Yeah.
get some hype going in for hardcore to get some more people into it as well. Um, other than that, I'll still be doing Wrath content. I'm gonna do that Trinket Toggle video. Um, I'm planning on doing another like updated like rotation, Wrath Feral DPS rotation thing as well, because things have changed a little bit since the last one I did, and also the last one I did was more beginner type stuff. So I'm going to do more intermediate, advanced stuff in the new one. Other than that, it's going to be mostly just phase 2 prep and playing hardcore.
Yeah. And again, phase 2 Old War might be coming out January 17th. We've got the notification that season 5 ends on the 9th or 10th, whatever it is, like Tuesday morning on the 10th, and usually a week after the phase starts. So we've only got a couple more, raid weeks until Old War. So good luck
Yeah, not a
on
lot of prep time left.
yeah, good luck on your loot drops and your next raids. And yeah,
I'll be
dude.
interested to see how progression goes for everybody, not just for like the top guilds, but for like everybody, because like even normal modes will be, some prog involved with them, and I don't really foresee a ton of people getting a ton of hard mode stuff done until like maybe even like a few weeks in. Like get some of that new Old War gear that'll help with the hard mode stuff. So like I know like a lot of the top guilds were struggling on some of those hard modes. So like we might not even see a full hard mode clear week one. It might not happen. We'll see. I'll be interested just to watch what happens on that front.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it does come out on a Tuesday because a lot of people were talking about like it was going to be coming out on a Thursday, and our raid nights are Tuesday, Thursday. So if it comes out on a Thursday, then I'm like, is that going to be our only raid night for the week? Or we're going to try to do like another raid like on a Monday or something before the reset? But having it on a Tuesday feels really good because I asked my GM, I was like, can we do some 10 mans first? Get a little bit of extra loot from the 10 mans, and then, maybe Thursday we do like the 25 man stuff. And I think that might be the route that we're doing. So hopefully we
Yeah,
get
some of that 10-man gear is real strong.
dude the 10 man. Oh, it's so crazy. And even the 25, it's going to be nuts. Like the power bump I feel like is going to be huge, but I'm excited.
I'm excited to be like, because like right now, most like my time playing has been mostly like, to be totally honest, it's been hardcore
Mm-hmm.
for the last, basically since the fresh event started. Most of the actual gameplay that I've been doing has been hardcore. So it'll be nice to have a reason to want to play Wrath again, other than just raid logging.
Yeah, I know. I need to start farming consumes again. And that's one of the things for the video I was going to put out is like the mats to go ahead and get for like the crafted belt and boots. So I've looked at the tailoring stuff and I've started to farm the tailoring stuff, but there's some leatherworking stuff too that is either equal or maybe better. So I need to look at the
Yeah.
leatherworking stuff myself.
I feel like as far as like videos that either of us or Grif would want to do would be like, okay, how are we preparing for the phase? Let's
Yeah.
share what we're doing with everybody. Like that's like the easiest way to do it. It's like,
Mhm.
what am I doing? You could probably do it too. Like,
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Table, for hanging out for this last hour and a half or whatever it's been. It's been a little bit longer than that, but yeah, dude, thanks, man.
of course, always a pleasure.
Yeah, good luck on your hardcore tunes. I don't know if there's like a catchphrase like, don't die, like don't break your leg.
Yes.
Like,
Stay safe, don't die.
yes, stay safe. That's what it is, right?